Welcome to week 4 of a Muffin Month. Now, if you have missed any of the previous muffin weeks, I'm going to link to them all down below. We had some yummy ones, so you want to check them out, or you can find them right up there. We have this week and one more week to go. But today we are making small batch zucchini muffins. Now, they are the perfect solution if you've got an excess of zucchini in your garden, or maybe your neighbors have an excess of zucchini. But if you don't have an excess, get yourself to the grocery store, get yourself a zucchini, because you're going to want to make these muffins. So these zucchini muffins are tender and delicious, and they have a really yummy glaze on top. But we're going to start first of all with our zucchini. Now we're just going to grate about a half of a cup of zucchini, and I don't even peel my zucchini, so it's super easy to do. Just take your grater, and I'm using the bigger size on there, and grate it up. Zucchini has a lot of moisture in it, so we just want to take that paper towel and go ahead and squeeze it. You're going to see we're going to get liquid out of there. Get all that excess liquid out of there, because that's going to make your muffins a little too mushy if you don't do this step. Now then, we're just going to go ahead and set this aside. You may have noticed I have a little something sitting right here. I'm actually on a knee scooter. On the 4th of July, I took a little tumble and I fractured my fibula. I'm waiting to go to the ortho today to find out kind of what the plan is, but I have been non-weight bearing on this little scooter for a few days, so it's joining me in the kitchen today. So we're going to use 2 bowls to make these muffins, 1 bowl for our wet ingredients and 1 bowl for our dry ingredients. What this does is, by mixing our wet ingredients together and then our dry ingredients separately, it cuts down on the amount of time we need to stir to combine ingredients, because one of the tricks for a tender muffin is to try to stir the muffin batter as little as possible, because the more you stir it, the tougher of a muffin you get. So we're going to start by combining the wet ingredients, wet plus a little bit of dry, because we're going to add the sugar in there to melt into the butter. I have got a 1/4 cup of salted butter in my bowl right here, and then I'm going to add in 2 tablespoons of brown sugar and 2 tablespoons of granulated sugar. If you like your muffins a little bit sweeter, go ahead and add in another tablespoon of each of the sugars. And then I'm gonna just use my Danish dough hook here, which I have linked to down below, to get that sugar dissolved into my warm butter. All right, now we're gonna add in 1 egg. You just wanna make sure that butter is not too hot. It should have cooled down by now after you've added the sugars in, so that you don't end up cooking your egg. We'll mix that up. And then we are going to add in, today I'm using Greek yogurt, plain Greek yogurt, but you could also use sour cream. And we're going to add in 2 tablespoons of that. All right, grab a towel. And then we're going to add in a 1/4 to 1/2, you know me, and extract. I just kind of add in what looks good. Of vanilla extract. Now, one thing in this recipe, if you want to change it up a little bit, almond extract would be delicious in these muffins also, so you could try that. And then I've got some milk here. I'm just using 1% because that's what I had in my fridge. 2 tablespoons of milk. All right, and then we'll just go ahead and mix all that up together. Now we're ready for our dry ingredients. We're going to use 3/4 of a cup. I like to use unbleached all-purpose flour. We're going to add in a 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt. And then I'm going to use a 1/2 of a teaspoon of cinnamon. If you're not a big cinnamon fan, totally leave the cinnamon out or use a little bit less, but I love the flavor that the cinnamon gives the muffins. And then we're going to use a teaspoon of baking powder. And also, one of the tricks with muffins to get a nice tall muffin is make sure you're using fresh baking powder, not baking powder that's been sitting on your pantry shelf for a year. All right, 1 teaspoon of that. Then we are just gonna flip that together. Now, here's the debate. There is kind of a debate between people. Do you add the wet ingredients into the dry ingredients, or the dry ingredients into the wet ingredients? I like to add my wet ingredients into my dry ingredients. So what I usually do is I get that all mixed up and combined. Because again, once we add the liquid in, we want to stir it as little as possible. And then I kind of just make a little well right in the middle. And then I'm going to just take my wet ingredients and pour them right into the middle. Scrape out what I've got in there. And then go ahead and just mix it just until all the dry ingredients are combined. In fact, I'm gonna stop here right before all the flour is incorporated to add in my zucchini. Now I have a little bit more than a half of a cup here. So you don't wanna like pound this in and make it really compact. You want it to be cut nice and loose. Because the zucchini is gonna add moisture, so we don't want too much zucchini in there. All right, add that in. And then just finish incorporating that dry ingredient and the zucchini together. All right, I've got my muffin tin. I have lined it with cupcake liners because I just makes it so much easier to get them out. If you don't have any, just make sure you spray it good with some baking spray. And then I'm gonna use my little muffin scoop here. I have linked to it down below in the description. It is 1/3 of a cup. And we are gonna fill these muffins to the top. All right, here's my muffin tip for you. I've shared it in our other muffin recipes for Muffin Month is to get a nice tall bakery style muffin. You're gonna preheat your oven to 425 degrees. We're gonna bake the muffin for 5 minutes. It's gonna push that muffin up. Then we're gonna turn down the temperature to 350 degrees and bake it for another 8 to 10 minutes. You just wanna have a toothpick come out clean. So while those muffins are baking, we're gonna go ahead and make the glaze. Now, the glaze is my favorite part of this muffin, but it could totally be left out if you don't want that little extra sweetness in your muffin. We are gonna use a 1/4 cup of powdered sugar. And then today I'm gonna make this a lemon glaze, which I love that combination, the lemon with the cinnamon and the zucchini. But you could totally just leave it plain and use vanilla extract, or if you've added almond extract into the muffin, you might wanna put some almond extract into this glaze, would be delicious. Now, using lemon juice, just squeeze in enough lemon juice to get, I'm gonna use probably half a teaspoon to start with, and I need a fork. I need my trusty assistance because I'm a little immobile here today. I've got my daughter here helping me to grab things for me. I forgot a fork. But if you're gonna use almond extract, you're gonna add in just like 1/8 of a teaspoon of almond extract and then use milk, thank you, to get it to the consistency you want. Don't use all extract. Just use 1/8 of a teaspoon of extract and then the rest water or milk. If it's too runny, just add in a little bit more powdered sugar. If it's too stiff, add in a little bit more juice. You want to get it just to a nice like drizzling, so you can drizzle this glaze right over the top of the muffin. All right, you want to make sure your muffins are totally cool before you add the glaze, otherwise it's just going to soak right into that muffin. And then we're just going to make sure it's still, if it's stiffened up a bit as it's sat, just add a few more drops of lemon juice or water into it and it'll be great. And then just drizzle over the top. Now, you'll find that there is no such thing as too much zucchini when you have this zucchini muffin recipe. It is a perfect way to use it. And if you want to dress them up a bit, they would be delicious with chocolate chips in them, with some chopped nuts, pecans or walnuts, all kinds of different variations you can do with these muffins. And don't forget, we have one more week of Muffin Week left, and it is a good one. You're not going to want to miss it. So grab yourself some zucchini. Make these zucchini muffins. They are delish. And thanks for joining me in the kitchen today. And we'll see you in the next video.